Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. All right, let's get right into the meditations today. You guys, I brought so many books with me. I brought so many books with me today. Let's read from the Meditations for Living in Balance. Well, actually, I should probably check out and see what it's about before I make a commitment to read from this meditation today. Because like yesterday's was the weather, it said. Let's see what it says. February 7th, this is an interesting title. Toss, refer, act, or file. Okay, executive coach, best-selling author, and noted executive organizer Stephanie Winston has come up with a simple and enormously effective way to tame the paper tiger. She has named it TRAF, which stands for Toss, Refer, Act, or File. This is going to be such a silly meditation video today. Roger Browner. TRAF. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? Let's work backwards. File. For many of us, there is very little that comes in the mail that we really want to file. To warrant filing, it needs to be important now or possibly important later, requiring no immediate action. Action. Does something need to be done with this? If so, do whatever can be done immediately or put it in a file or pile to be handled as soon as feasible. Immediate action is the best. Refer. Which I have to tell you guys, when I first read the title, I thought it said refer. Anyway, that's how old school I am. Okay, refer. Refer. Some things are just none of our business, can be better handled by others, or we just don't want to take care of them. Then pass them on immediately. We don't have to control or do everything, whether we are in the office or at home. Learn to pass information, requests, ideas, and tasks along immediately. What a relief. Toss. Here's the hard one. What if we might want this later? Maybe we could take time to read it more thoroughly later. When? There might be something of interest we may need to know. Trust your impulse, your first impulse, and toss it. Put a large wastebasket near where the mail or papers are collected and or sorted. You know, I was actually going to just like turn this off and start it over because I was like, this is such a dumb meditation book to read for today, or dumb meditation to read for today. There are no dumb meditations, but you know, it's actually a good meditation. And I have to tell you that, you know, recently I have been like cleaning out areas in my kitchen, and then I'm going to clean out areas upstairs. And so I cleaned out the kitchen cabinets over there, and I took everything else. And this is honestly like what I really did. Like I like tossed it, or like if, you know, like held on to it. And then like if something I needed to do immediately, I did. And then I did the drawers, and now I have to do underneath in the cabinet. And this is really like what I did. But the reason why I think this is important in talking about is, to me, and looking at it, it seems so overwhelming. I was like, I have all these cabinets I have to clean out. It's all my junk. It's none of it Alex's, right? So I'm like, I have all of this stuff that I have to clean out. And it just seemed like this overwhelming amount of, you know, just, it's very much to me the way that I look at weight loss. It's like one thing to say I'm going to lose 5 pounds at a time. It's another thing to say I want to lose 80 or 100 pounds, you know? And so it was like, oh, I have all these cabinets to clean, instead of saying I have one drawer to clean. And one night, like I went in here and I like turned on a TV show, and I was like done with the drawer in a half an hour. I mean, it had everything sorted and thrown away and put away and everything. And the drawers are like super clean now. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. And the feeling that comes with that of accomplishment, that feeling of actually having like accomplished something and organized something and put it away. I love that feeling, you know? I always feel so much better when I'm done. I always call Alex down and I'm like, come here, Alex, you gotta come here and look at my drawer. And he's like, oh, very nice job. Pat on my gold star for you for finishing the drawer. You should be very proud of yourself at 49 years old. You can clean a drawer. But no, it's like I really do like feel proud of myself in that moment, you know? And it always makes me feel good. It's so funny because my best friend, she is like always cleaning something, and I feel like it just kind of like goes. It's like, do you remember those gyms back in the day? She actually used to work out at one of these gyms. I can't remember what they were called, but it was like a cycle, you know, and you would like start at like place, my contact, something is in my contact. It would start at like place 1, and then you would go to place 2. They were like for women mostly, and you would go through like the cycle, like 5 or 6 cycles, you know? So that's kind of how she is with cleaning. Like I'll be like, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm like doing dishes and cleaning the kitchen and doing all this kind of stuff. Then the next day I'll call her and she'll say, oh, I'm watching The Housewives and I am like cleaning out my cabinet. It's just this big cabinet in the kitchen, right? And then it goes like, and the next day it's like, oh, I'm cleaning out my clothes closet. And then it's like 5 days later, she's like, I'm cleaning out the cabinet in the kitchen again. I'm like, oh, we're at that station today. But it like, you know, I think to keep up on it makes us feel good. And I think clean spaces or clean minds, you know. We have some organized mess around our house, but nothing that's like super, super messy. I couldn't live that way. So, you know, I think it's about finding places for things and finding that comfortable space within yourself. And I really do think that it aids to cleaner thinking. You know, it's like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say in that moment, but like when I'm sitting here and I'm trying to film videos, if I have tons of stuff to do, or if my desk, I have like a little desk area. So both of our desk areas are on our dining room table. If my area is messed up, I have to clean it up first before I can like go on. And once it's cleaned, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. And so what I've been trying to do lately is I do a list every night before I go to bed or before I go do what I'm going to vlog or whatever I'm going to do. And I've been like getting that note or that list ready. And then like I used to do when I worked in treatment, I have it like ready to go for the next day so I can just start fresh. So great meditation. A little different than what I talk about over here. By the way, if you watch this channel but you don't watch my Peter Does Stuff channel, I talk a lot about spirituality on my Peter Does Stuff channel today, so you should go check it out. All right, let's read from one more book. Let's see. This is from the Daily Book of Positive Quotations. This is called Virtues. February 7th, Virtues. Courage is the ladder on which all the other virtues mount. Claire Booth Luce. We like to think of ourselves as being basically good people, people with high values, people who do the right thing, and most of the time, we probably are. But what if we lie? But if we lie because we're afraid to take responsibility for something we've done, if we remain silent when we hear sexist, racist, or other types of hurtful comments, if we fail to act when we see injustice, how virtuous are we really? It takes courage to live our virtues and make them real. I won't put my values aside simply because it makes my life easier. Wow, I love this meditation. If you've watched my channel for a while, you'll know that one of my favorite quotes of life is from the movie The Contender. And if you've never seen The Contender, please, 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 please watch the movie The Contender. And it's a movie about a woman that is appointed as a Supreme Court justice. And there's a scandal that happens in her past. And so she's basically supposed to defend herself against this scandal, which has no bearing in truth whatsoever. And she refuses to address it. Like, she sticks to her guns, and she's like, I'm not going to address, there's no truth to this. I'm not going to address it, right? And so at the end of the movie, when it comes out that there was no truth to it, the president asks her, he says, it's this great moment. She's like running, and he comes out, and he's like smoking a cigar, and she's jogging. And so like they sit together on the lawn in front of the White House. And he says to her, you knew the pictures were, it was these pictures. He goes, you knew the pictures were doctored. And she was like, yeah, I knew all along that there was no truth to it. And he said, well, why didn't you say anything about it? And why didn't you respond to them? And she said, it was never theirs to ask in the first place, which I love that saying, right? And she looks at him and she says, principles only mean something if you stick to them when they're inconvenient. And it's one of my favorite quotes of life because as I have gotten older and as my best friend says, the road gets narrower, I'm truly a believer in that, you know, that principles that you believe in, whatever they are that you believe in, honesty, integrity, you know, whatever, that they only mean something if you stick to them. If your belief system of what is right and what is wrong in this world, if you stick to them in times that they're convenient, hey, great, okay? But if sounding off on Facebook or whatever, you know? But would you sit next to somebody that's really close to you and correct them if they did something that you found offensive? Or, you know, in those moments, like when it is most inconvenient for us and maybe not popular, in those moments, do we stick to our principles or do we wane away from that? You know, I think, go away from that. That's the question you have to ask yourself. Because if we are only our principles at the end, okay, if we are only our experiences and the principles that we stick to, I mean, what are we if we don't stick to our principles, right? Of integrity and honesty and being a good person. And I don't, you know, it's interesting that the meditation started with saying, we believe that we are, what does it say? Virtuous, great acting, perfect souls or something like that. It said something like that. What did it say? Hold on, it said, we like to think of ourselves as being basically good people, people with high values, people who do the right thing, and most of the time we probably are. I mean, I don't know that I think of myself as having high values or that I always do the right thing. I know that I think that I'm a person that takes opportunities for changes and is trying to grow in the right direction, and that's the best that I can do, But I also think that there have been many moments in my life, especially like the older I get, it's like okay, here's a chance for you to stick to your principles. Are you going to do it? And I can tell you that in my youth, I often didn't, and I'm not proud of those moments, It's hard. And I think you have to ask yourself, what are principles, what are beliefs that I really believe in? And am I willing to stand by that and stand up and say something in even the most, inconvenient of times, Am I asked an honest moment? If I'm asked to be honest in this moment or whatever, am I going to be honest in the most inconvenient of times? Am I going to stick to my integrity? Am I going to turn away? It's like from whatever. It's like, am I going to do the right thing? It's like the question of like, if your mother was watching or if your husband or wife was watching, would you continue to act the same way? Those are inconvenient moments, right? So it's about, I think, trying to be the best version of ourselves that we can be on a daily basis. Anyway, good meditations. Well, maybe the first one was kind of a little corny, but I still liked it. It reminded me that I need to clean some stuff up around here. Clean spaces equal clean minds. See, I could be a motivational speaker. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.